As the sun sets on the picturesque tropical paradise, Jason Brody and his group of friends, including his brothers Grant and Riley, revel in the carefree atmosphere. Laughter fills the air as they embark on an exhilarating skydiving adventure. Little do they know, their joyous celebration is about to take a dark turn. The scene we've been witnessing unfolds on a smartphone, now held tightly in the hands of Vaas Montenegro. Jason and Grant, bound and confined within a cage, are separated from their friends. Vaas, the menacing leader of a notorious pirate group, taunts and threatens the brothers, flaunting his power and control over the island. Just as Vaas revels in his sadistic display, a mysterious figure emerges, commanding him to cease tormenting the hostages and deal with the outcasts instead. Left alone, Grant skillfully frees himself from the restraints, swiftly followed by Jason. With the expertise honed during his time in the United States Army, Grant swiftly neutralizes a lingering guard and unlocks the cage. Leading the way through the enemy camp, Grant guides Jason, navigating past the initial wave of the pirates. Amidst the chaos, they stumble upon their belongings, a glimmer of hope in the midst of despair. Grant reclaims his trusty knife, while Jason secures his camera and tablet. In addition, they gather a lighter, a map, and a phone, essential tools for their treacherous journey ahead. With their possessions in hand, they press on, determined to defy the odds and reclaim their freedom. When Jason and Grant finally arrive at the camp's end, Grant unfolds the map of the island on a stump. Together, they analyze the map, desperately trying to locate their captive friends and devise a plan. However, their efforts are abruptly interrupted when Vaas, in a shocking turn of events, shoots Grant in the throat. As Jason frantically tries to stem the bleeding, Vaas commands him to run, injecting a surge of adrenaline into the already tense situation. Grant tragically succumbs to his injuries, leaving Jason devastated as he clings to his brother's lifeless body. With a heavy heart, Jason flees, sprinting through the dense jungle, skillfully evading guards, dogs, and various other obstacles in a desperate bid to reach safety across the treacherous river. However, his luck runs out as he plummets into the rushing waters, losing consciousness. When Jason wakes up, he finds himself in a makeshift shelter. A mysterious man stands before him, etching a tattoo into his left arm. Jason's instincts kick in, and he instinctively reaches for a knife, ready to defend himself. But to his surprise, the man brandishes his own knife, initially appearing threatening. However, he quickly changes his tune, flipping the knife over and extending it towards Jason, introducing himself as Dennis. The enigmatic man assures Jason that he means no harm. In fact, he claims to be a warrior destined for greatness. Jason, desperate for assistance in finding his missing brother Riley and friends, implores Dennis for help. However, Dennis responds with a surprising answer, stating that Jason can only rely on himself. He promises to set Jason free, leaving him to ponder the true meaning behind Dennis's cryptic words. Dennis escorts Jason outside, eager to introduce him to the vibrant village. As they approach, the villagers' eyes widen with admiration upon hearing of Jason's daring escape from Vaas's treacherous camp. Dennis proudly recounts his own arrival on the island and the warm embrace he received from the indigenous Rakyat tribe. To aid Jason in his fight, Dennis hands him a generous sum of $60 for weapons, but Jason hesitates, unsure if he should accept. Sensing his hesitation, Dennis offers words of reassurance, urging him to continue the battle. Equipped with newfound funds, Jason purchases a formidable 911 handgun from the village shop. Dennis then leads him beyond the village, directing his attention towards a nearby radio tower. This tower, adorned with a scrambler, hinders communication between Amanaki town and other villages. Dennis promises Jason rewards aplenty if he can dismantle these troublesome devices. With determination in his eyes, Jason embarks on his first mission, scaling the towering structure and successfully removing the scrambler. scrambler, Dennis imparts wisdom upon Jason, encouraging him to embrace his natural instincts to conquer the challenges of the island. He points him towards the hunting grounds, southeast of Amanaki village, where he can gather vital resources, such as plants and animal hides, for crafting essential medical supplies and equipment. After skillfully fashioning advanced gear from leaves and other natural materials, Jason's stolen cell phone unexpectedly rings. On the other hand, a pirate unknowingly reveals their plans to transport a captured American girl to a nearby outpost. Sensing an opportunity, Dennis declares that the time to strike is now. With determination coursing through their veins, Dennis drives Jason to the outskirts of the outpost, where they rendezvous with two more fierce Rakyat warriors. The warriors place their trust in Jason as they witness his tattoo, a symbol of his bravery and commitment. They propose two options, either sneaking into the outpost or taking out the pirates from distance. With all enemies defeated, Jason scours the main outpost in search of Lisa, but she is nowhere to be found. Now, Jason's path leads him west to Dr. Earnhardt's mansion. Upon arrival, he discovers that one of his friends, Daisy, managed to escape. However, Daisy is in the dire need of medical attention. Earnhardt reveals that a special mushroom is required to save her life, hidden deep within the caves beneath his mansion. Determined, Jason embarks on a journey into the mysterious caves. As he explores, the presence of other mushrooms causes him to experience hallucinations. Once the hallucination subsides, Jason locates the mushrooms he seeks. He carefully collects them and navigates his way out of the cave, returning to the mansion. With the mushroom in hand, he hands it over to Earnhardt. Doctor informs Jason that Daisy is now awake and advises him to check on her. Jason ascends the stairs and reunites with Daisy. He shares the tragic news of Grant's demise and updates her on his quest to find the rest of their friends. Just as they converse, Earnhardt arrives to administer the antidote. In a surprising turn of events, Jason requests that if he finds more of their friends, they be allowed to stay at the mansion for their safety. Initially hesitant, Earnhardt's resolve crumbles under Daisy's heartfelt pleas. Believing Daisy to be his long-lost daughter Agnes, who passed away at the age of 10, Earnhardt agrees to their request, allowing them refuge within his house. In a covert operation, Jason skillfully eliminates 3 radio operators, seizing their valuable intel. He proceeds to the control room of the Medusa, a communication hub for Vaas pirates. When the ship's alarm is triggered, reinforcements arrive, but Jason swiftly eliminates them as well. Amidst the chaos, Dennis contacts Jason, urging him to head to Amanaki village, as the Rakyat desperately require his assistance. Jason discovers that Vaas is recording ransom tapes of his friends and brothers at a place called PC. Furthermore, he learns that the pirates plan to sell them into slavery after extorting ransom money from their parents. Determined to rescue his loved ones, Jason returns from sabotaging the Medusa and is informed by Dennis that Vaas intends to destroy Amanaki village using a weapons cache. Reluctantly, Jason accepts the task of destroying the weapons and heads to the lodging camp where they are stored. Upon reaching the camp, he disables the alarm and successfully plants a bomb in the hut containing the weapons. With only 15 seconds to spare, Jason escapes the explosion's radius. As pirate reinforcements arrive, Jason faces a crucial decision, whether to eliminate them all or make a daring escape. Eager to follow up on a message he heard on the Medusa, Jason infiltrates Pirate Cove, determined to save his friends. He makes his way through the treacherous pirate-infested camp, navigating past crates filled with drugs, until he hears the faint sound of Lysis' voice. Determined, he bursts through the back door, only to be confronted by a video playing, revealing Vaas holding Lisa hostage. Fueled by anger, Jason charges forward, only to be ambushed and knocked unconscious by a hidden pirate. Vaas and his men transport Jason and Lisa to their desolate island port hotel, setting the building ablaze in an attempt to eliminate them. However, Jason manages to break free from his restraints and saves his girlfriend. Together, they await Vaas's pursuing men and find refuge in a cave beneath Dr. Reinhardt's mansion. In the depths of the cave, Daisy, Lisa, and Jason reunite, their spirits lifted. It is then that Daisy asks Jason to locate a power source for the outboard motor. Eager to help, Jason seeks the aid of the Rakyat, the local tribe, by visiting their leader, Citra. She, in turn, requests Jason assistance in retrieving a lost item and offers him a mysterious concoction to drink. Overwhelmed by the potion, Jason slips into a dream where he encounters his friends, a man dressed in a white suit, a shantytown, and an ornate Asian ceremonial knife. Upon awakening, Jason deduces that Citra is in search of the knife, and with Dennis's guidance, he sets off towards the shantytown in the eastern region. Jason arrives in the eerie place called Bedtown, his heart pounding with anticipation. He navigates through the narrow streets, his eyes scanning the buildings, until he spots the one that had haunted his hallucinations. With a surge of determination, he steps inside and is immediately greeted by a sight of a mysterious man in a pristine white suit. Thinking quickly, Jason decides to blend in and joins the poker game, using it as a clever disguise. Luck seems to be on his side as he wins round after round, catching the attention of the man in a white suit. Impressed by Jason's skills, the man approaches the table and casually extinguishes his cigar and ashtray. He compliments Jason's gameplay before gracefully departing. Not one to waste time, Jason follows the enigmatic man as he leisurely strolls through the town. The man's deliberate pace leads him to a humble shack at the end of the long street. Now, Jason finds himself at Willis's shack, where he engages in a conversation about his patriotic motives. As the door to the basement slides open, Jason's attention is drawn to Willis, who presents him with a powerful flamethrower known as the Flammenwerfer. Willis reveals crucial information about Hoyt and his drug fields, instructing Jason to use the flamethrower to set fire to the marijuana crops and destroy Hoyt's boat. With Willis's words echoing in his mind, Jason contacts Dennis, who warns him about the dangerous Hoyt and advises him to steer clear. Undeterred, Jason embarks on a journey to the drug fields, armed with his newfound flamethrower. As he sets the illicit crops ablaze, he faces fierce resistance from the pirates, determined to stop him. Amidst the chaos, Jason's determination remains unyielding. With every fiery explosion, he feels a surge of adrenaline coursing through his veins. Finally, he successfully reduces Hoyt's drug empire to ashes, but his mission is not yet complete. In a final act of defiance, Jason employs the RPG to obliterate Hoyt's escaping boat. The explosion lights up the night sky, a symbol of Jason's unwavering resolve. Jason stumbles upon a hitman named Buck, who has taken his friend Keith hostage. In order to secure Keith's release, Buck demands the Asian ceremonial dagger, the very same one that Citra desperately needs. Determined to save his friend, Jason embarks on the ship Nostalgia, hoping to uncover the whereabouts of the dagger. However, instead of finding the knife, he discovers an ancient compass and a laptop. Intrigued, Jason downloads some secret files, unknowingly triggering an alarm that leads to a catastrophic explosion, causing the Nostalgia to sink. Miraculously, Jason manages to escape the sinking ship just in time. Guided by the ancient compass, Jason follows its direction to a Japanese World War II bunker. Inside, he navigates through the remnants of the old Chinese ruins and secures another piece of the compass, but the elusive knife remains out of his grasp. Undeterred, the compass leads him to an abandoned mining facility where he retrieves the third piece of the compass. Following the compass's guidance, Jason arrives at a cenote and a complex cave system. Within the depth, he discovers another set of ancient Chinese ruins and finally acquires the coveted Chinese dagger that both Buck and Citra are desperately seeking. With the knife in his possession, Jason heads to Buck's residence. Upon seeing the knife, Buck, who curiously lacks pants at this moment, demands that Jason hand it over. However, Jason stands his ground and insists on Keith's release first. Surprisingly, Buck agrees and hands Jason the key. As Jason descends the stairs, he finds a terrified Keith pleading for his freedom. Suddenly, Buck intervenes, revealing his sinister plan to keep both of them captive. Determined to save himself and Keith, Jason engages Buck in a fierce knife duel. Despite Buck's military experience, Jason skillfully defeats him, ultimately killing him and freeing Keith. Together, they make their way back to the Dr. Einhardt's mansion, where they can finally find safety and solace. Jason stepped into a sacred temple, his hands clutching the ancient Chinese knife known as the Silver Dragon. As he approached Citra, he could sense her anticipation. With a graceful gesture, he presented her with a coveted the artifact, Citra's eyes widen in awe, clearly impressed by his find. She beckoned him closer, her voice low and filled with intrigue, suggesting they have a private conversation. In the secluded corner of the temple, Citra began to weave a captivating tale. She spoke of a colossal giant that dwelt beneath the tranquil surface of the Lotus Pond, its waters pure and untamed. This fearsome creature would devour anyone who dared to approach its edge. However, a valiant warrior from a northern kingdom, driven by the tales of the giant's terror, vowed to vanquish it. He adorned his body with intricate tattoo markings and drew power from the realm of the deceased. When the time was right, he embarked on a treacherous path that led to the Lotus Pond. As the giant emerged from the still waters, the warrior raised his gleaming dagger, ready to strike. With one swift motion, he severed the giant's head from its body, causing the skull to plummet to earth below. And thus, Rook Island was born, formed by the remnants of the fallen giant. The warrior's bloodline continued through generations, giving rise to the noble Rakyat people. Citra's voice took on a more serious tone as she proposed a deal to Jason. She recognized his potential and believed he could prove himself worthy of the tattoo. If he aided them in rescuing the captured Rakyat warriors, he would demonstrate his commitment to their cause. In return, she promised to grant him the power he sought, enabling him to confront and defeat the formidable Vaas and Hoyt. Jason reluctantly agrees to assist the Rakyat in setting up an ambush in Churchtown. His mission is to plant C4 explosives on a fuel truck to block the road and disrupt the enemy's plans. After completing his task, he must climb a water tower to provide sniper support to the Rakyat warriors in combat. As the explosives detonate and the ambush commences, Jason realizes that the approaching enemies are not pirates as expected, but rather highly trained and well-equipped privateers. Undeterred, Jason fights his way through the ways of these formidable adversaries, determined to reach the convoy truck. However, upon opening the back door to the truck, Jason is caught off guard as Vaas emerges and strikes him forcefully with a pistol, rendering him unconscious. Unbeknownst to Jason, the armored van he had been chasing housed Vaas all along. When Jason regains consciousness, he finds himself bound and tied to a cinder block, with Vaas launching into a deranged monologue. Despite his best efforts, Jason's attempts to escape were futile. Meanwhile, a Rakyat warrior is tragically pushed into the water and drowned, foreshadowing Jason's own fate. Vaas's anger escalates as he accuses Jason of having a problem in his head. After briefly calming himself, Vaas pushes the cinder block into the cave, causing Jason to plummet into the depth below. As he falls, Jason curses at Vaas, vowing to defy him until the very end. After landing, Jason manages to free himself from his restraints and swiftly swims out of the cave. To his dismay, he discovers that the pirates have ransacked his belongings, leaving him with nothing. Determined to reclaim what is rightfully his, he embarks on a mission to retrieve his possessions. Making his way to a pirate encampment, he spots a helicopter and seizes the opportunity. With a quick move, Jason snatches a pistol from the pilot's holster and compels the pirate to take off under the threat of his gun. However, fate has a cruel twist in store for Jason. As the helicopter hovers above, another pirate on the ground unleashes an RPG, causing the aircraft to crash in a fiery explosion. Slowly regaining consciousness amidst the wreckage, Jason finds himself face to face with Vaas. Vaas carelessly flips Jason over with his foot, taunting him with a question about the definition of insanity. Before Jason can respond, a gunshot pierces the air, striking him in the chest and plunging him into darkness. Miraculously, Jason awakens to a horrifying sight, trapped beneath a mound of lifeless bodies, struggling to breathe. Summoning every ounce of strength, he manages to wriggle free, emerging from the pile to the astonishment of nearby Rakyat warriors. Dennis, a trusted ally, appears and marvels at Jason's survival, questioning how he managed to cheat death. In that moment, Jason reveals a surprising secret, a lighter that Vaas left in his pocket during their previous encounter, a twisted memento of their deadly game. Dennis departs to inform Citra about Jason's remarkable survival. Meanwhile, Jason heads heads towards a nearby camp, armed with mines and C4 charges, determined to retrieve his belongings. After collecting his things, he finally meets Citra. She offers him a mysterious drink, which transports Jason into a dreamlike state. In this surreal realm, he battles and triumphs over the ink monster, proving his worth as a true warrior of the Rakyat. As Jason awakens in the temple, he finds himself intimately entwined with Citra, their connection solidified. Filled with newfound determination, he addresses the Rakyat, declaring his unwavering commitment to lead them to victory against the tyrannical rule of Vaas and Hoyt. After becoming intimately involved with Citra, she reveals to Jason that the time has come to eliminate Vaas. Upon arriving at Vaas's island, Jason is taken aback to discover that the pirates are actually celebrating his impending demise. Determined to infiltrate the compound, Jason must find a way inside. Once he successfully enters, Vaas appears on the stack of televisions, taunting Jason. Suddenly, Vaas remotely triggers an explosion, forcing Jason to make a daring escape. As Jason finds himself at the rooftop, he surveys the entire compound, preparing for the intense battle that lies ahead. Fighting through the waves of pirates, Jason finally reaches the building where Vaas is believed to be hiding. With the defiant challenge, Jason calls out to Vaas, only to be ambushed and stabbed from behind. Jason slips into a surreal dreamlike state, walking along a dimly lit path, adorned with glowing blue television screens. At the end of the path, he confronts Vaas, who claims that Citra will transform Jason into a formidable warrior. In a tense moment, Jason pulls out a pistol, prompting Vaas to urge him to shoot. If the player hesitates, Vaas takes control and forces Jason to shoot, regardless of the player's choice. Jason then finds himself in another dream, fending off multiple clones of Vaas, armed with knives. After a grueling battle, Jason finally reaches Vaas and attempts to kill him with a knife. Vaas skillfully evades the initial strikes, but is unable to block the final blow. Jason mercilessly stabs Vaas multiple times, causing him to collapse to the ground. Exhausted, Jason follows suit and falls to the ground as well. In a haunting moment, Vaas locks eyes with Jason once more before he drifts into a deep slumber. Shortly after meeting his friends in the cave beneath Dr. Reinhardt's mansion, Jason gathers them to share his decision of staying on the Rook Islands while they return to the US by boat. Determined to take down Hoyt Walker, Jason reaches out to Willis for assistance. Willis offers him a plane ride to South Island. However, their plans take an unexpected turn when pirates attack them at the airstrip. Jason bravely defends Willis until the plane is fixed, and together they take off towards the south. As they part ways, Willis lends Jason a wingsuit and a parachute for his journey. Upon landing on the southern island, Jason wastes no time and eliminates some nearby pirates before stealing their truck. He then drives to Thurston Town, where he enters a high-stakes poker game and meets Sam, a person recommended by Willis. A person Willis was talking about, who could aid him in his mission against Hoyt. Sam devises a clever plan to disguise Jason as a privateer recruit, allowing him to get close to Hoyt. To execute their plan, Jason infiltrates a recruit training base, skillfully maneuvering past numerous privateers and eliminating a guy named Foster to acquire his uniform. With Sam's guidance, Jason and Sam devise a new strategy to gain access to Hoyt. Their plan involves eliminating 3 privateer captains who are plotting against Hoyt and obtaining a roll sheet of the traitors to present to him. However, despite successfully assassinating the captains, Jason only manages to retrieve a meeting note. Undeterred, Jason and Sam proceed to Hoyt's drug fields, where they defuse the bombs planted by the pirates. Determined to find the roll sheet, Jason infiltrates the privateer camp located in the gorge. After carefully absorbing the bridge overlooking the gorge, he seizes the opportunity, acquires the sheet, and makes a daring escape. Jason, disguised as a fresh recruit named Foster, and his companion Sam finally make their way to Hoyt's compound. Their mission? To convince Hoyt to accept Jason into his inner circle. To their surprise, Hoyt commends Jason for successfully obtaining the roll sheet of the traitors. However, Hoyt's next request catches Jason off guard. He wants him to interrogate a prisoner in the basement. Little does Jason know The prisoner is none other than his own younger brother, Riley. Caught in a difficult situation, with no immediate options to rescue Riley, Jason is left with no choice but to torture him in order to maintain his cover. Despite the heart-wrenching act, Hoyt seems convinced of Jason's loyalty and extends an invitation for both Jason and Sam to join a poker game with their ultimate goal of dismantling Hoyt's organization in mind. Sam and Jason devise a plan to destroy a satellite communication dish located in the northwestern region of the southern island. Jason takes out the guards, infiltrates the bunker, and strategically plants explosives on the dish. Just as planned, Sam arrives in the helicopter to pick up Jason. As they soar through the air, Jason triggers the explosives, obliterating the communication dish and crippling Hoyt's network. To further undermine Hoyt's organization, Sam and Jason devise a plan to cripple their operations. They head to the fuel depot, where they strategically plant explosives on the pipelines and a control room. Sam, in a hushed conversation with Jason, briefs him on the action plan. He discreetly reveals that he has a concealed knife in his boot, while instructing Jason to divert Hoyt's attention with the word deal. With their preparations complete, the duo enters the room where Hoyt awaits, inviting them to join a poker game. As the gesture of hospitality, Hoyt offers them food, but Jason politely declines. The three settle down to play, tensions simmering beneath the surface. As the first round concludes, a shocking turn of events unfolds. Hoyt suddenly lunges forward, grabbing a knife and ruthlessly stabbing Sam in the neck, leaving him mortally wounded. Jason finds himself surrounded by Hoyt's privateers, who coerce him into continuing the game. Despite suffering multiple losses, Jason's fate takes a sinister twist. Hoyt rises from his seat, a sadistic smile playing on his lips. He taunts Jason, revealing his twisted intentions. "You know what, Jason? I'm going to go easy on you, since you're a family man. One finger every time you lose." The privateers hold Jason's hands, pinning them to the table, while Hoyt retrieves the blood-stained knife that claims Sam's life. With a chilling determination, Hoyt proceeds to sever Jason's ring finger from his left hand, plunging him into a surreal state of mind. In this dreamlike trance, Jason retrieves a knife of his own, challenging Hoyt to a deadly duel. As the two engage in a fierce battle, Hoyt cryptically mentions that Jason should be concerned about Riley. He callously discloses that he sold him to a client in Yemen, someone who has a disturbing preference for young individuals. Riley is now en route to a local airstrip, destined for a life of slavery. After vanquishing Hoyt, Jason's mission takes a new turn. He must now confront and overcome a horde of mercenaries loyal to Hoyt in order to locate and rescue Riley. The stakes are higher than ever as he fights against the odds to save his brother. Jason fights his way through the compound, determined to reach the airstrip. When he finally arrives, he discovers his brother locked up in a cell and wastes no time in setting him free. Together, they seize control of the helicopter, their only hope for escape, as Hoyt's remaining mercenaries give chase. With adrenaline pumping through their veins, Jason and Riley touch down near Dr. Reinhardt's mansion, hoping to reunite with their comrades. However, their hopes are shattered when they find the mansion in disarray and their friends nowhere to be found. In a stroke of luck, Jason stumbles upon a gravely wounded Dr. Reinhardt, who, with his dying breath, reveals that the Rakyat have abducted their friends. Overwhelmed by confusion, Jason and Riley take flight towards Citra's temple, desperate to uncover the truth and determine the fate of their loved ones. As they enter the temple, a sense of urgency fills the air. Rakyat warriors surround them, their eyes filled with determination. Suddenly, Jason's eyes widen in horror as he witnesses Riley being taken away by the warriors. Fear grips his heart as he desperately turns to Citra, seeking answers. With a mysterious glint in her eyes, Citra approaches Jason and blows a shimmering dust onto him. The world around him starts to spin, and before he knows it, darkness engulfs his consciousness. He awakens in a cold stone room, his wrists bound tightly. Citra's voice echoes through the chamber, proclaiming him as the true warrior. Determined to prove himself, Jason struggles against his restraints, finally freeing himself. With a newfound sense of purpose, he follows Citra into another room, his steps echoing in the silence. The path ahead is ablaze with fire, casting an eerie glow on the ancient ruins that surround them. Rakyat warriors kneel on either side, their loyalty unwavering. In his hand, Jason clutches the knife he had retrieved for Buck, its blade now pulsating with an otherworldly blue light. As he moves forward, the knife transforms, flames dancing along its edges. It is a symbol of his destiny, a weapon that will guide him through the trials that lie ahead. With determination burning in his eyes, Jason takes a deep breath and steps onto the fiery path. The journey ahead may be treacherous, but he is ready to embrace his role as the true warrior and face whatever challenges await him. After strolling a few meters, a fiery Liza emerges, unleashing a torrent of words at Jason about his tattoos and how he believes they set him apart. In a sudden frenzy, she seizes Jason's arms and obliterates his tattoo. The knife slips from his grasp. Moments later, Liza appears, her face transformed into that of an ink monster. At the end of the path, Citra kneels, clutching the knife, now radiating a mesmerizing blue glow. As Jason takes hold of the knife, he snaps out of his hallucination, only to find himself holding it against the subdued Lisa's neck. Now, Jason faces a critical choice: to save his friends or to align himself with Citra. If he opts to save his friends, Jason slices through the rope, biting Liza, who proceeds to untie Daisy, and together they free the rest of the group. Citra implores him to join her, insisting that he cannot turn his back on her and that the jungle is his true home. She adds they will move on, have kids and boring lives. Firmly, Jason declares that he had enough and that no more blood will be shed. Suddenly, Dennis storms in, brandishing a knife, and berates Jason for betraying Citrus's divine love. He yells that she saved him and everyone else in the tribe. Lunging at Jason, Dennis is unexpectedly intercepted by Citra, who steps in front of him as Jason retreats, inadvertently causing Dennis to plunge the knife into her stomach. Jason gently lays her on the ground, apologizing for ejecting her love, and cradles her head as she passes away. Dennis breaks down in tears, desperately pleading for her to not die, while apologizing for his accidental act. The boat Daisy had been repairing is spotted sailing away from the island as Jason condemns the sacrifices he had to make to rescue his friends. If you decide to align yourself with Citra, a tragic sequence of events unfolds. Lisa's life is tragically cut short as Jason carries out a horrifying act. The rest of the group meets a similar fate, leaving no survivors. Citra, in the midst of this chaos, commands the Rakyat warriors to prepare the tattoo, signaling a pivotal moment in their destiny. Surprisingly, Jason and Citra engage in an intimate encounter, only for it to end in a shocking betrayal. Citra plunges a blade into Jason's chest, causing him to bleed profusely. In this moment of despair, Citra assures her chosen partner that their child will be born, destined to lead the Rook Islands and the Rakyat people as the perfect warrior. With her final words, Citra acknowledges Jason's warrior spirit and whispers, "You won." This has been the story of Far Cry 3. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe, and I'm going to see you in the next one.